You're going to do great, Mallory. Grant Donovan squeezed her shoulders like a coach prepping a boxer before the big match. Mallory Baldwin drew in a deep breath and stared at herself in the bedroom mirror. Her first stop on her 30-city tour was a shelter for abused and trafficked women called Hope House on the eastern shore of Virginia. It was the perfect location to kick off her new initiative. She stared at her reflection. Did her gaze hold the strength she'd been told she possessed? Or would people see beyond her best efforts and know that inside she was a quivering mess? Still the scared, broken woman who'd been rescued? 2 years. It had been 2 years since she'd been freed from the home of Dante Torres. Sometimes it felt like just yesterday. Other times it seemed like another lifetime. She'd since been through counseling and therapy and drug rehab. She'd had solitude. She'd even tried chocolate and shopping therapy, anything to try to mend the broken pieces of her soul. Everyone said it was amazing how she bounced back. She wasn't sure she believed it yet. Anyone who really got to know her had to think she was fragile. Maybe that's because she was. And she'd always been. And she always would be. Mallory? Grant said, his hand still on her shoulders. He stared at her reflection also, his gaze studious. Assessment was what Grant did best. He was her manager. But in the years since her rescue, she had turned to him for advice. She had come to depend on those bright blue eyes to see what needed to be seen. But she desperately wished he would move his hands from her shoulders. He was touchy-feely, and Mallory was the opposite. Unwelcomed contact made her want to hurl, sucked her back in time, made her remember things she didn't want to remember. "What are you thinking about, doll?" Grant seemed to sense how she'd prickled at his touch and removed his hands. Did Mallory dare tell him what she was thinking about? She knew the pep talk she'd get in return. Did she even want to go there, to hear his platitudes? No, she didn't. She pushed a lock of hair behind her ear and stood, drawing on every ounce of her inner strength. Let's do this. He led her into a living room lined with chairs. Everyone quieted as she walked in. Reporters were here today, as well as local city council members, a representative from a government task force, and a local sheriff's deputy. But she hardly saw any of them. No. Her heart lurched at the sight of the women, the residents of Hope House, who were seated in the room, at the haunted look in their eyes, because she understood it. She'd lived it. Why had she been the one plucked out of obscurity to do this? Why had she been rescued while so many others perished? Perhaps she was suffering survivor's guilt. She didn't know. Grant insisted that Mallory was the perfect person for this role. Most people thought of human trafficking victims as being unlike them, he'd said. They thought of runaways, girls overseas without family to miss them, impoverished women, desperate to survive by whatever means necessary, women who weren't relatable to the average American. Apparently, Mallory was relatable. Grant, a master of PR, who also had a Hollywood flair, had downplayed her family's wealth and influence and tried to make her look like the girl next door who'd been snatched away from her idyllic life in the Washington, D.C. social scene and sold into slavery. Mallory went along with his plan, trusting that he knew what he was doing. She wanted to make a difference, and she would play by Grant's rules if that's what was necessary to make this work. As she stepped up to a makeshift stage area, everything felt like a blur around her, yet, at the same time, crystal clear. Grant introduced her and she swallowed hard. So hard it hurt. Her hands trembled as she approached the wooden podium in front of her. The scar on her shoulder began throbbing, just as it always did when she got nervous. She cleared her throat and forced herself to look up. 12 women stared back at her. She had to focus on them, on helping them find healing. My name is Mallory Baldwin. I'm 27 years old, and I'm the victim of human trafficking, she began, just as she'd rehearsed. She reached